A lot of the experts in baseball saying that the Cubs are amongst teams that will be super aggressive at the trade deadline. I think they're right. Could Chris Sale be the guy that could come back to Chicago? We're going to talk about that. How about just one all-star starter? And it's Pete Crow Armstrong. We're getting into that as well. I know the Nico Hoerner ejection was a couple of games ago, but I have some comments on that after watching the video and the latest power ratings. All that right here on the Cubs baseball channel. So like, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you for being here. Great to talk to you guys. Let's get this party started and go Cubs, as we do every single day here on this channel. Go Cubs. Hey, everybody, it's Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel, and it is great to see you guys today as we talk Cubs baseball. All right, let's get right into the lead. Could the Cubs be willing to part with some premier prospects to add an ace to the top of the staff? Every single insider that you trust and you believe in is saying that the Cubs are willing and able and going to make some big moves, maybe even before the trade deadline even hits. Bruce Levine on 670 The Score saying that they're going to put in a strong effort. They're going to try to get some things done over the next 2 or 3 weeks. It's been about a week now. I believe that they're out there trying to get things done, right? Bob Nightingale saying that it's going to be the Phillies and the Mariners and the Cubs and the Padres amongst the most aggressive teams at the deadline, but that the Cubs have the prospects to get things done. Our good buddy Patrick Mooney talking about in The Athletic, and by the way, Moonster's one of the best in all of baseball, talking about some of the chips that the Cubs could potentially play. One of those guys is Owen Casey, who's in Iowa right now. I'd be very uncomfortable trading Casey in a deal. I'm sure teams would love to have the left-handed hitter who has the potential to be a superstar at just 22 years old. He's in Iowa right now. But how about Alcantara? How about Triantos? How about other guys that the Cubs might be in the mix for besides Sale, Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly of the Athletic, of the not the Athletics, the Diamondbacks in Arizona. The guy, though, that's interesting to me is this. The Braves just keep backsliding right now. The Braves have always been smart when it comes to making deals to improve their team. They're going to know that the Cubs have Owen Casey, and I could see them saying, hey, we would love to have this guy be in our lineup for the next 10 years, and he's a guy that could possibly do that. If the Cubs were going to go out there and get someone that can help them win a World Series, I feel like Chris Sale could be that pitcher. He's a guy that's been there, done that, right? He's a multiple-time All-Star. A year ago, he even got votes for MVP in Atlanta. He had 18 wins and 3 losses and a 2.38 ERA. Back with the Braves this year, despite the bad season. Still pitching under a 3 ERA, 3-4 record in 13 starts, 96 strikeouts in 73 2/3 innings. And look, you get that, man. You remember him from the White Sox. You remember him from the Red Sox. You remember him from the Braves. The guy's a winner. But what I like about him and what I think he could potentially bring to the Cubs if they were willing to go out there and pay the hefty tag to get him is that the guy's mean. He's not going to take any guff. He is going to be your ace the day that he gets there, and he walks in the locker room, and the locker room changes a little bit. White Sox had him. You remember they wanted to wear those goofy short combos that they used to wear back in the 70s. The guy goes in with a pair of scissors and cuts them all up. Like, we're not wearing this. I'm not wearing this. Snip, snip. He does not care. And they trade him, and they trade away one of the best talents in baseball. And even to this day, you look back and you're like, man, I mean, there's just not anything that you can trade to get back the value in a guy that over 15 years has a 303 earned run average and 141 wins and 87 losses. a strikeout pitcher, but a top of the rotation guy. The Cubs won the World Series in 2016. One of the reasons why was a guy named John Lackey. Yeah, we love John Lester, Jake Arrieta. They were great. Lackey was this guy. I'm coming in to win, and we're going to win, and we're not going to do it the wrong way, and I'm going to be a little bit grumpy, and we're going to kick your ass. And you like those guys. And I'm sorry, somebody's probably like, hey, man, look, I'm just telling it like it is. And this is a guy that could do that. Are the Braves going to trade him? Probably. Because the Braves are right now awful. And they expect it to be good. And part of it has been health, right? But they could go ahead and regroup a little bit and next year be right back in the mix with a guy like Owen Casey or maybe a James Triantos. If I'm the Cubs, I'm not trading. I'm not giving up on my guy, Cade Horton, because I think if you're the Cubs, you got to have him as your future. And the Braves may say, hey, look, we're not making this deal without getting pitching back. But I'm not giving up on him. Maybe some of the other guys. And you look at the rotation, and, Matthew Boyd pitched well again last night. Jameson Taillon pitched well his last time out. Horton struggled, but he's a young guy. He's still figuring it out. Go through there. Shota Imanaga is going to be back soon. But if you put Chris Sale in this rotation, it's Chris Sale, Shota Imanaga, and all of a sudden, all the rest of those guys that you're like, how are these guys doing it? They're moving back a little bit, and you're feeling a lot better about this rotation. But the price is going to be heavy, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. I just thought, you know what? If they're going to do this, it's going to be painful, but the reason why is that you can win, right? And I think that is at the beginning and the end of it all, that's what it comes down to. Now, the Cubs as a team, all of a sudden, latest power ratings are one of the best teams in baseball. And the crazy thing to me is they're one of the best teams in baseball. Right now, they're ranked as like the third best team in the power ratings. And the reason why I'm surprised is you haven't had Shota and you haven't had Justin Steele for a while. But the Bleacher Report put those ratings out, and I'm telling you, man, ranking all 30 teams to see the Cubs that high with Jameson Taillon and Matthew Boyd and, and this rotation, Ben Brown and Cade Horton, and you're going, whoa, I mean, think if you added the Chris Sale to this team, right? And I how much do you worry about the clubhouse chemistry? I don't know. But the Dodgers are fourth and the Cubs are third tells you a lot. Now, the offense has been prolific for the Cubs. They've been one of the best in baseball. And here are the last few games. These guys have played some tough competition. I mean, really have, because they're facing everybody's best. But I love that. Because what do they say? Steel sharpens steel. You got to go out there and beat the best. They could not do that last year. How many times did we talk about it? Every time they face the best, they lose. This team's different. It's going to be hard to score, but guess what? They find a way to do it. And that's an exciting part of what this team does. Nico Hoerner was ejected, and going back and watching it, it reinforces the need for the robot strike zone. And that's coming probably next year to baseball. But to watch the pitches, and then the one he struck out on, and he looks at the umpire, he's like, hey, that was, you're having a bad day. What he should have said is, when you see the video, you're going to have egg on your face, buddy, because you can't get the balls and strikes right. I love the idea of having a challenge. I don't like the challenges being too limited where you can't fix when you got a guy like that that's having a bad day. And he made his day worse by throwing Nico out. And the Cubs obviously didn't score in that game, but at the end of the day, I don't believe in the human element. Not in 2025. Not when I sit in a press box every day and they can pinpoint the location of all the pitches, whether they're strikes or whether they're balls. And that we can go and do that. And when we do, hey, guess what? You can tell, and they can tell. So we're getting to that point. NFL football does it. the more of it, the better. Pete Crow Armstrong fouled off a ball in last night's game that should have been a foul. They caught a strike 3. They need challenges on all that stuff. They just get it right. Just get it right. And that's why I'm excited about Robot Strike Zone. Really, it's just being able to appeal. But at the end of the day, technology's there. You might as well use it, because I think we all just want them to get it right. Now, somebody out there's going, I love the human element. I don't. I don't like that. Watching a guy that can't call balls and strikes. I mean, come on, dude. What'd you do last night? Why are you off? We've all had those. Where were you? Just have a bad batch of coffee, or were you out late? Who knows? But the Sunday games seem to be the ones that the guys struggle the most on. I don't know if that's true. But what I will tell you is that it helps the umpires too. They want to get it right. These guys want to get it right. And having the appeals and all that stuff helps you. And some of those are like, there's split seconds. Sometimes the pitches move. Sometimes the way the lighting is. Let's just get it right. Make it easier on everyone. All right, final thing on today's show is now everyone's kind of throwing out what their projections are for this All-Star game, right? And to me, it's crazy to think that of all the great players that the Cubs have, that these insiders are saying, hey, Pete Crow Armstrong is the only guy that's going to have a start in the All-Star game as a Cub. Now, unless something changes, right? David Schoenfield of ESPN put his list out. I've watched a lot of people. MLB Network did the same thing, and they run through the list, and I'm like, oh, well, okay. And then you get to Pete, and it's like, well, we got to put Pete in there. The kids love Pete. Baseball's fallen in love with him. I knew they would. But, Kyle Tucker, Seiya Suzuki, just the way that it unfolds. Carson Kelly's had a great year. The Cubs may have a lot of guys on the team, but right now it feels like Pete Crow Armstrong's the guy that has the lock to be a starter unless something changes, right? So when you start thinking about it, it's like Kyle Tucker. I mean, he's one of the best players in the game. And then you look at the other right fielders and you're like, man, there's some good players, that play right field in Major League Baseball. But I put him, I mean, it's not just the power numbers and the batting average, it's all the different things that he does every day. That you look at and you're like, and you're going, man, who do you feel like is the best, right? Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis, Corbin Carroll. I picked Tucker. I think Tucker belongs in. I think you look at that list, and I know Corbin Carroll's really good, but I'm telling you right now, Kyle Tucker has changed the entire Cubs team. I mean, I feel like that move is changing. I hope they sign him, because if they don't, we're going to look at Cam Smith. We're going to look at all the players that were given up in this deal, and all the money that was lost, and we're going to really hate it. Unless we win the World Series, and then everybody will be like, hey, you know what? It happens. Anyway, thanks for hanging on the show today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Get in the comments section. Tell me what you guys think. Love talking to you guys on a daily basis. And you know what? It's been an absolutely fun season. Win, lose, or draw. The Cubs, I guess we don't draw anymore. But the way that this team plays, you beat them, you played a good game. They can beat you in a lot of different ways, but they bring the energy to the park every single game. And I know that the losses hurt, put us all in a bad mood, but it's hard to beat this team. And I think that those are the teams that can make a run in the postseason. All right, thanks again. Go Cubs.